There is a small island in Japan where people seem to have quietly solved one of humanity's greatest mysteries. Not through medicine, not through technology, not through anything you can buy or bottle. In Okinawa, living past 100 is not a miracle. It is not even unusual. These people wake up every morning with purpose, tend their gardens with steady hands, laugh with friends they have known for decades, and fall asleep without fear. They are not just living longer, they are living better, and the rest of the world is finally starting to pay attention. Researchers have studied Okinawa for decades, trying to understand what makes these people different. What they found wasn't a single secret. It was a way of life so simple and so deeply human that it almost feels like something we once knew and somewhere along the way forgot. Today, we are going to remember it together. Okinawa sits at the southern tip of Japan, a chain of small islands surrounded by warm blue water and kissed by the sun nearly every day of the year. For centuries, it was an independent kingdom with its own culture, its own language, and its own way of understanding the world. Even after becoming part of Japan, Okinawa held on to something distinct, a quieter pace, a deeper connection to the land and to each other. Today, it is home to one of the highest concentrations of centenarians on Earth, people who have lived through wars, poverty, and hardship, and still managed to reach 100 with their minds intact and their spirits unbroken. The question is why? Walk into an Okinawan home at mealtime, and the first thing you notice is the food. It is simple, almost shockingly so. Purple sweet potatoes, which are rich in antioxidants and have been a staple of the Okinawan diet for centuries. Bitter melon, a vegetable that helps regulate blood sugar. Tofu made from soybeans. Seaweed packed with minerals. Small amounts of fish. Occasional pork, but only occasionally. What you won't find is much of anything processed. No fast food, no food eaten in a hurry while staring at a screen. But it's not just what Okinawans eat that matters, it is how they eat. Before every meal, many Okinawans quietly repeat a phrase that has guided their relationship with food for generations. Hara Hachi Bu. It means eat until you are 80% full, then stop. Not 100%, not stuffed, 80%. This single habit, practiced consistently over a lifetime, means that Okinawans consume significantly fewer calories than most people in the developed world. And science now tells us that caloric restriction is one of the most reliable ways to reduce inflammation, lower disease risk, and slow the aging process at a cellular level. They didn't need science to discover this. They figured it out centuries ago simply by paying attention to how their bodies felt. There is a wisdom in that worth sitting with. Okinawan elders do not have gym memberships. You will not find them following structured workout plans or counting steps on a smartwatch. And yet their bodies remain remarkably strong and functional well into their 90s and beyond. The reason is simple. They never stop moving. Gardening is perhaps the most important physical activity in an Okinawan elder's life. Nearly every centenarian studied in Okinawa tends a garden. They kneel, squat, dig, carry, and rise dozens of times every single day. Their bodies stay functional because they are used constantly for real, purposeful work. Walking is another quiet constant. Not power walking or exercise walking, just walking. To a neighbor's home, to the market, through the garden, along the shore. And then there was something researchers noticed that surprised them. Okinawan elders traditionally sit on the floor, not on chairs, on the floor. And they get up and down from that floor many times throughout the day without assistance. This might sound insignificant. It is not. Scientists now consider the ability to rise from the floor without using your hands one of the strongest predictors of how long a person will live. It tests strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination all at once. People who can do it easily in their 60s and 70s tend to live significantly longer than those who cannot. Okinawan centenarians do it automatically. They have been doing it their entire lives. Movement was never exercise to them. It was just life. Now we come to something that cannot be measured in a laboratory, but may matter more than anything else. Every Okinawan elder has an Ikigai. It is a Japanese concept that translates roughly as a reason for being. Your reason for getting up in the morning, the thing that makes your existence feel necessary and worthwhile. For one 98-year-old woman, it is her garden. She has tended the same plot of land for over 70 years, and she will tell you without hesitation that the garden needs her. Not that she enjoys it, that it needs her. For an old fisherman, it is the sea, and the knowledge he carries about it that no one else has. For another woman, it is her great-grandchildren, cooking for them, teaching them, watching them grow. Ikigai does not have to be grand. It does not have to change the world or earn recognition. It simply has to matter to the person living it. And the research on this is striking. Studies have found that people with a strong sense of purpose live on average 7 years longer than those without one. 7 years. Not from medication, not from surgery, from having a reason to get up. In much of the modern world, people retire and quietly lose their sense of purpose. They stop being needed. They stop contributing. And sometimes, not long after, they stop thriving. Okinawan elders never retire from life. They simply keep living it. Of everything researchers discovered in Okinawa, this may be the most important finding of all. Okinawan people are never truly alone. From childhood, they are woven into a social structure called a Moai, a small group of friends, typically 5 or 6 people, who commit to supporting each other for the rest of their lives. They meet regularly, they share meals, they lend money when someone struggles, they celebrate together and grieve together, and grow old together. These are not casual friendships. They are lifelong bonds, forged early and maintained faithfully. And this matters enormously for health. Loneliness is now considered by researchers to be as dangerous to physical health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and early death in ways that are measurable and significant. Most people in the modern world will tell you they have plenty of contacts, hundreds of followers online, dozens of acquaintances. But genuine, deep connection, the kind where someone truly knows you and you know them, is becoming increasingly rare. Okinawan elders have had that their entire lives. Their Moai ensured it. Here is something else worth understanding about Okinawan life. These people have not had easy lives. Okinawa was devastated during World War II. Many centenarians alive today survived unimaginable hardship in their youth. Poverty, loss, rebuilding from almost nothing. And yet, they carry very little of what we would recognize as chronic stress. Part of this comes from their spiritual beliefs. Many Okinawans practice a quiet form of ancestor veneration, a belief that those who came before them are still present and still watching over them. Death is not feared in the way it is in much of the Western world. It is seen as a natural transition rather than an ending. This changes how they live. When you are not consumed by fear of death, you are free to be fully present in life. They also have a concept called nankuru naisa, a phrase that roughly means things will work out in the end. Not passive resignation, more like a deep trust in the flow of life, a refusal to carry tomorrow's weight today. Chronic stress is now understood to be one of the most damaging forces on the human body. It accelerates aging, damages the heart, weakens the immune system, and clouds the mind. Okinawans are not immune to hardship. They simply refuse to let hardship become a permanent resident in their nervous system. So what does any of this mean for you, sitting here today? You don't need to move to Okinawa. You don't need to eat bitter melon every morning or sit on the floor. What you need to do is understand the principles behind the lifestyle and find honest ways to bring them into your own life. Start with your plate, not by following a complicated diet, but simply by slowing down when you eat and stopping before you feel completely full. Hara Hachi Bu doesn't require a nutritionist. It just requires attention. Look at how you move. Not how often you exercise, but how often your body is actually in use throughout the day. Can you walk more? Garden? Take the stairs? Get up from the floor and back down again just to remind your body that it still can? Ask yourself honestly whether you have a Moai. Not followers, not contacts. People who truly know you and who you would call at 2 in the morning if something went wrong. If the answer is no, that is worth addressing. It may be the most important health decision you ever make. And find your Ikigai, your reason. It doesn't have to be profound, it just has to be real, and it has to be yours. Finally, consider your relationship with worry, with stress, with the future. Okinawans are not wiser than you. They have simply practiced, over many years, the art of trusting that life will continue and that most of what we fear never arrives. Up every morning with somewhere to be, and up every morning with somewhere to be and someone to be it for. None of that is complicated. None of it costs anything. It is just deeply, quietly human. And somewhere inside you, I think you already knew all of it. Maybe this was just a reminder. If this story moved you, share it with someone you love. And if you want to keep exploring what it means to live a long and meaningful life, we will be here, waiting for you.